J.R. Shepard may not have been able to pick up a win last time out at South Boston, that honor going to VGN's very own Kenny Kibbe. But by finishing just ahead of his title rival Matthew Thunhurst, Shepard was able to eke ahead of him in the championship. But with Kenny's good run of form recently, he too has entered into that championship equation. Will those numbers start to sort themselves out tonight, or will the top sheet of the standings continue to be as tight as ever? Well, we won't have to wait too long for answers as we get ready for the Bootleg Racing League's Grand National Series event here tonight at the virtual Southern Motorsports Park. Welcome, everyone, to tonight's coverage on the Virtual Grip Network. My name is DJ Clark, and on behalf of my partner here in the booth, Austin Belke, as well as the rest of us here on VGN, we'd like to thank you for joining us here tonight. Southern National is a relatively young track as compared to many of the other circuits on the Grand National Series, but it's sure to offer up a challenge for tonight's drivers. Austin, what can you tell us about this North Carolina speedrome?
Hi, DJ. Yeah, this high-banked short track has yellow walls on both sides, so it packs a lot of action into this tiny facility. And the walls on both sides of the track means there's nowhere to hide from your competitors, and if there's a wreck, it's going to be very hard to avoid. Like you mentioned, it is a short track, 0.4 miles, 0.6 kilometers, 17 degrees of banking in the turns, and 7 down the straightaway. So this place is pretty darn fast.
Well, fast is what we like to see here in the Bootleg Racing League. And what we also like to see and bring acknowledgement to is our sponsors. And our main sponsor tonight, well, that's Gargamel's Kitchen. Gargamel's Kitchen is a food-grade nitrous oxide provider located in Denver, Colorado, and a proud sponsor of the Bootleg Racing League. Visit their office at 2045 South Valencia Street, or go ahead and give them a call at 720-707-6178. Well, we've got a couple more things that we want to run through you on before we bring you to the action on the track, and the first of those are those aforementioned championship standings. Now, as I said, J.R. Shepard holding a narrow advantage right now over Matthew Thunhurst to the tune of about 3 points separating first and second. But with Kenny Kibbe's run of good form, you can see him sitting there just about 9 points back of Shepard. Justin Morton as well, very much in that hunt. He's only about 11 points back. So those top four, very, very close together. It's going to be interesting to watch out for those four here tonight. But in terms of tonight, Austin, for those of our viewers who are not familiar with the Grand National Series, what kind of race are we going to have? What are our race details?
Yeah, DJ, this race is going to be 100 laps long, or 60 minutes, whichever comes first. Time of day is set to sunset. The grids here are very special, though. We start the grids by inverting the top 8 from the last race, and then the rest of the field follows in finishing order. Cautions are set to on. They're controlled by iRacing. Restarts are going to be double fly with lap cars to the rear. The leader controls the starts and restarts in turn 4 once the pace car has left the track. There are lucky dogs, so if you do get lapped, there is a possibility to get your lap back. There are no tire changes, so the set of Goodyear sticker tires you start with at the beginning of the race is the one you're going to finish the race on. There's one fast repair in case you get into some damage, random weather, and the track state's going to start at 0% here in practice and then carry over into the race.
Well, that's going to be something to be keeping an eye on to see if different parts of this track will start to rubber in. Keep our eye here in that opening practice session. This is the 87 of Todd Liston running it around. And Austin, my eyes may deceive me, but that car's looking super loose around here tonight.
Yeah, DJ, I hopped into the cars a little bit earlier here tonight. I think my fastest lap is good for about 10th or so right now. But yeah, the cars are super loose. The way that we got the brake bias set up just to be faster when the race starts out, it's so far down, with all the brake in the rear of the car is really loose getting into the corner, especially coming off. It's really easy to put too much power down and just spin the car out coming up off the corner.
Indeed. So there we see Liston hopping on into the pits right now. That is the 11 right now that's working his way around. That's Ruben Altis, as I do believe that may just be the checkered flag. And indeed, my eyes do not deceive me. We're ready to go racing here, Austin. And as you said, this field inversion of the top 8 from the last race, and then the rest of the field determined by finishing order. So we'll run you through this 17-car field right now. Starting off in the pole, it's that 11 machine, Ruben Altis, followed by Adam Schoen, with Jeffrey Harden and Justin Morton behind him. Matthew Thunhorst will be in P5, followed by J.R. Shepard with Kenny Kibbe in 7th. And, well, that's a strange name there in 8th. I'm not sure what he's doing out there on
I'm
track.
just getting points, man. Anyways, ninth place is going to be Joe Segala, followed by Kurt Smith in 10th. Ryan Seneker is going to line up 11th, followed by Lowell Jewell in 12th.
In 13th, it's going to be Brian Dean, followed by Todd Liston, with Donnie Moore and James Lowe in 16th. And then tail end Charlie there will be Tim Schanowski bringing up the back of the field. We'll have 2 pace laps, or I believe 1 pace lap actually, out here at Grand National, and then that green flag will fly. Austin, we always like to ask this before the start of the race. Who you got your eye on?
Yeah, tonight I think I have to choose J.R. Shepard. He was really fast in the first 2 races. He actually swept the first 2 of them. He's been really fast all night. So I think I have to take him as a sleeper pick, though. I think I'm going to go with Justin Morton tonight.
Stole my sleeper. I'm going to have my eyes on Kenny Kibbe, last week's winner. You have 1 more pace lap around here. iRacing lying to me a little bit on that. I think Kibbe is going to be one to watch. Also, Matthew Thunhorst, who is 2nd in the championship. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him really try to fight his way towards the front of the field. High banking around here. That means that you can carry some good momentum up on that high side, and then you can be able to carry some good stuff down low as well. Fun across the board. So here we go. Pace car pulls on in. All eyes go to the 11 of Ruben Altis, and there he goes. There goes the flag, and here comes the thunder. We are racing here at Southern National. It looks like that is the 65 of Adam Shane working his way up on the high side, doing a good job there to keep up that momentum. Field bunching up Noah's Ark style 2x2 for the first 3 rows.
Yeah, the first car singled out is going to be Kenny Kibbe on the inside. So far tonight, the high line has been the preferred line to make your passes, but you can make the inside work on new tires, especially at the beginning of the race. So I wouldn't be too surprised here to see Adam Shane take the lead, followed by Justin Morton. Justin's one of those guys who can always run the top really well.
Yeah, whether it is dirt or on asphalt, J-Mo is definitely one of the ones that does that high line well. Now Adam Shane pretty much fully ahead of Altis, and indeed he is. Justin Morton now working his way past the number 11 car as they dive into 3. We keep our eyes focused back here on the 44. This is Jeffrey Harden as he is locked in a battle with the 8 machine.
Yeah, Matthew Thunhorst really jumped onto the scene here last season and showed that he was going to be someone fighting for wins and championships. Nonetheless, he's been actually the person most likely to take it to J.R. Shepard most of the time. It's really interesting, though, to see Justin Morton, Kenny Kibbe, and other drivers taking it to J.R. on a weekly basis, so it's really fun to see. Up at the front, though, looks like Justin Morton has made it to the outside of Adam Shane.
He has indeed, and don't look now, that's J.R. Shepard coming on the outside as well. He's been able to clear past Ruben Altis. There they go as they come their way through 1 and 2. Oh, that's Shane
we got
around.
A car spinning. Yep,
that is Shane
no,
around.
That's Ruben Altis, actually.
Thank
Ruben
you.
Altis spun out. Yep, no caution still. He's off the racing surface. Now he's just backed up now, and now we've thrown the caution. Yep.
Thank you for that clarification there, Austin. I had Adam Shane on the brain, and that's what happened. It looked like there, though, for Ruben Altis, it may have just been a little bit of a single car incident. I don't think I saw any contact there, but I could be mistaken.
Yeah, we're going to watch the replay here. It's really easy to spin yourself out if you're on the bottom here, especially with how loose these cars are. Yeah, you can see Ruben just lost the rear end under braking and was able to almost save the car, but just get into one of those lazy spins halfway through the corner and pass a point of no return about 3/4 of the way through it. So unfortunate for him. He's going to have to be tail end Charlie as we get back going here. 16th spot now for Ruben.
And in Austin, how frustrating is that? Those sort of lazy spins that we talk about, that you can just feel the rear of the car slowly but surely starting to give way on you, and there's almost nothing you can do.
Yeah, you said the perfect word there, DJ, frustrating, because that's all it is, especially when the spin starts as early as it does, you know, and it just lasts forever, and it's kind of one of those weird moments, and you know when it's spinning out, you know, you're either going to spin to the inside or correct it too much and just spin back up the track, and that's really something you don't want to do. So really glad Ruben, for our competitor's sake, was able to keep it down on the bottom and just spin to the inside there.
Yeah, indeed, as we now watch them coming back here. Lights are still on that iRacing pace car. So it looks like here, Adam, that early on, it is going to be that high line being the way to go. Do you think there is any reason to change on that going forward?
No, I think the high line is going to continue to be the line you want to use around here, especially with the cars as loose as they are. Usually, when the cars are loose, you can just pinch the guy on the inside down. So I expect the high line is going to continue to be the dominant one. I wouldn't say JMO's in a whole lot of trouble here, given the fact he is a leader, so he can choose to restart, and he's one of the best guys at just finding that absolute limit of grip on these restarts. So I think he'll be okay.
Well, all right, the lights are now off on that pace car, so control of the field will go to Justin Morton down on the inside, Adam Shane to his outside, Shepard and Fun Horse behind them, those two championship contenders and Kibbe lining up. That is an early start there for Justin Morton. He is fully clear of Adam Shane as they dive into turn one. The rest of the field fanning out behind him. Looks like Fun Horse is trying to make a run on the high side, but we've got another yellow, a three-car pileup in two.
Yeah, big stack up in turns 1 and 2 there right in the middle. We're going to get a replay of that here in a second. You can see Justin Morton. What a great restart from him. Adam Shane, not a bad restart. It's just, you know, as the driver having to anticipate, it's a lot easier to spin your tires and not get a good start there.
Yeah, indeed, it looks like a couple of those drivers definitely tagged up in it there, including series organizer there on your screen, Lowell Jewell. So we're going to have to re-rack here. It looked like everybody just kind of came down to the bottom, and it was a little bit of a stack up, frankly, on the apron. Is the replay. This is the 19 of Seneca. Seneca overshoots the corner, and it looks like that may have given a little bit of a bump there to some of the cars in front. That's Segala I see down low, as well as, I think, Schanowski and maybe Donnie Moore.
Yeah, just an accordion effect there. You can see it. I think the car in front of Joe Segala, that was James Lowe. He just checked up a little bit earlier than Joe was anticipating, and then once Joe checked up too early, Tim checked up a little bit earlier than he anticipated needing to, and he just ended up, you know, barely tapping the rear end of Joe Segala. And these cars are shaped like wedges on the front and the rear end, so just the slightest bit of contact is going to send anyone in front of you around, and it looks like that's all that happened there. So real unfortunate there, you know, odds, you know, no bad intentions on any driver's part. It's just how these cars react.
Yeah, exactly. That can just happen a little bit in short track racing from time to time. We have at least one more lap here under yellow at Southern National Speedway. Laps under caution do count here in this series, so we are ticking those off right on board of Jeffrey Harden, who is down 3 positions from his starting spot in 3rd. He currently rides in 6th. That's Kenny Kibbe directly in front of him as he works his way around. Field now starts to form up in that familiar 2x2 fashion. Lapped cars being sent around. Justin Morton will again control this field with Adam Shane to his outside. We saw Shepard get a pretty good release there, but it looked like Fun Horse was bringing some good speed around, so he'll be one to watch for. iRacing pace car pulls off on the inside, and again, it's an early start for Justin Morton. A great start. He's about 2 car lengths ahead by the time they dive into turn 1. That's going to be J.R. Shepard trying to work on Adam Shane on the inside. Fun Horse gets a little bit checked up behind Shane. He's now going to be almost side by side with Kenny Kibbe as they dive in through 3 and 4.
Yeah, Matt Thunhorse almost got a bit crossed up behind Adam Shane. Almost got the car pretty loose and made contact with Kenny Kibbe, but it looks like J.R. Shepard's going to be able to clear himself. Maybe not, just barely down the backstretch there. He's going to try to get up in front of Adam Shane there just to make sure that he isn't contested for that P2 spot. Adam's going a little bit high in the corner, got really sideways there coming up off turn 4. That's going to hand the position over to J.R. Shepard, uncontested, currently being hounded by Kenny Kibbe, and Matt Thunhorse is that 65 machine.
Kenny's doing a very, very heads-up job there as we ride on board with Harden. You can see that Kibbe using him as a pick a little bit to be able to get himself clear of Thunhorse at this point. Kibbe trying to drive that car down to the inside. Looks like he's about to pull ahead by the time they go into 3. If he can keep up the speed here, he should be able to be fully clear. He's going to try to slide that car up on the track, and indeed he does. That's Kenny Kibbe up into the 3rd position, and now it's Thunhorse's job to try to take over Adam Shane.
Yeah, Adam Shane is being freight trained right now. He's just not really putting the corners together. I don't think the car is handling to his liking at this point in time. Someone who's usually pretty aggressive sometimes. But yeah, Kenny Kibbe's a driver that really likes to drive a loose race car, so he's got to be really good at laying the power down slowly and surely not, you know, making sure he doesn't spin his rear tires, because it is all about the rear grip on a track like this, where you want to try to make the passes coming out of the corner, because this league will penalize you for making a dive bomb move, especially if you wreck someone.
Yeah, exactly, and it looks like he's not the only car there, Adam Shane, that's having problems with that corner exit, specifically coming off of 4. I saw a little bit of a wiggle there out of Matthew Thunhorse, as Thunhorse now is trying to get his way past the number 14 of Kenny Kibbe.
Yeah, all that is right there is just trying to put the power down as fast as you can to try and make your passes off the corner exit like I was talking about. In this league, usually the most guys will, as soon as they hear cars that are inside, they'll kind of just yield the lower line because you're there. They're not going to come down and wreck you. That's a dirty racing move. But yeah, you can see Matt's just getting a little bit squirrely because he's just giving it all he's got coming off the corner. So, you know, usually not indicative of raw pace or a loose handling car, more loose than he'd like it. He's just trying to get all the spots he can right now. As you can see, Kurt Smith, I believe he got a little bit loose coming out of turn 2, saved the car, was able to keep it off the wall and keep us going green here. So great save by Kurt.
Yeah, the Hoosier now running around in 15th position right now, but I want to draw your attention back up to the front of this field. Is J.R. Shepard hounding Justin Morton here with every move. You can see it there on the wide shot. He's getting closer on him. I get the sense he's just trying to put some pressure onto the number 9. Justin running that low line, trying to defend the shortest way around the track.
Yeah, right now all JR is trying to do is just make sure he takes up as much of Justin's rear view mirror as he can to make sure that if he makes a mistake and JR can get to his outside, for instance, Justin gets a little bit loose off the corner, has to correct the car and goes one lane off the wall, JR Shepard can fill that gap and stay to his outside and make that pass for the lead if he wants.
Yeah, indeed there. Trying to get it. Just working it down. Ooh, a little bit of a wiggle there. Uncharacteristic from J.R. Shepard. I have to say here, Morton doing a great job of really taking a late apex into the corner, almost making it look like Shepard's got a chance to try to dive his nose in, but denying him as much as possible. Now, they're going to have some fun coming up here, Austin, as Donnie Moore is only about 3 seconds up the road from them, and Moore is running about a half a second slower than everybody else. When we jump back here in the field, this is the 87 of Todd Liston in a very fierce battle. That is Hardin and I believe Dean that he is
Brian Dean, yep. Yeah, fantastic scheme out of Brian Dean there. Instead of being the number 32 Tide Pontiac, he is the 23 Tide Pontiac. Love that paint scheme. Fantastic throwback job there by Brian. A big fan of Brian personally. You can see him working on the inside right now at Jeffrey Hardin. Going to be a tough pass there being on the inside. Really got to make sure he puts the power down really nice and easily, but looks like he's going to end up taking a position over Jeffrey Hardin for that invert position. Of course, if he stays here, that means he'll start on the pole next weekend at Myrtle Beach.
Exactly, with those snapping turtles down to the inside, and that 8th place position will be key a little bit later in the race, but I've got to be thinking right now drivers are just trying to fight their way forward the best they can, that they want to try to get up the field. 23 continues to go around as we check back here. This is Joe Segala in the 81 machine. Remember, he was involved in a little bit of that incident earlier. He currently runs in 12th, trying to chase down, that's that's Ruben
Altice. Yeah, Ruben Altice in the 11 car ahead of him. Great recovery drive for Joe Segala right now. Like you mentioned, DJ involved in that second caution of the race. So yeah, he's just trying to make his way back up through the field. He's really trying to conserve his tires right now just to make sure he has some at the end of the race. This is going to be Kurt Smith's spin out, I believe. Or no, he's pitting actually. He almost does spin out. Yep, so that's what ended up happening to Kurt. I believe he would have been towed to make sure that there was no caution. So sportsman move on his part, as I can see Lowell Jewell right now coming to the pits, as has Donnie Moore. So these guys aren't going to have a lap car for quite a ways here.
Yeah, so they're going to be out in the clear for a little bit, but who is not in the clear is your leader, Justin Morton. We look out of the tail of that number 9 machine. J.R. Shepard starting to get very, very aggressive. Going, seeing if he can get anything past that Total Downforce Racing number 9.
Yeah, I also just want to make a point here to mention that Matt Thunhorse, I'm sure you folks at home saw the ticker on the top of your screen that Matt Thunhorse has passed Kenny Kibbe for the 3rd position, so now he's trying to run down Justin Morton and J.R. Shepard, and yeah, J.R. is getting really close to Justin, especially in the center of the corner coming off to make sure he can. Right now, this is going to be the overtake of Kenny Kibbe by Matt Thunhorse.
Yes, it is Thunhorst trying to get on by, seeing what he can do. That's a good move there for Thunhorst. Kibbe trying to hold on to the back. Woo, here we got a little side-by-side to the back. That's Altice and I believe Seneca as they're going at it. Behind them, that is Segala and Schanowski just sitting in the popcorn position waiting to see what can happen.
Yeah, Tim was one of the faster drivers of the series. He started at the back of the pack today because he's missed a couple races due to his work schedule. I'm actually a very good friend of Tim's, so fantastic to see him back out here just racing his way up through the field, taking his time. You know, he made that contact with Joe a little bit earlier, but right now he's just making sure he takes his time to not make any more contact with anyone and save his tires for the end of the race, because I guarantee these guys are burning through them right now.
Yes, they indeed are. They've got to be careful about that, and that's probably why we haven't seen a whole lot of battling from the drivers in the front. They want to save these Goodyears as long as they can. Seneca just trying to make that outside line work as much as he can. I like here what Joe Segala is doing in that 81, just tucking in behind. We jump back into the ultimate popcorn position here. This is Tim Schanowski in the 07. He's now going to try to work on the high side around Segala.
Yeah, the unfortunate spot that Tim is in, and Joe too for that matter, is that both the cars ahead of him are running side by side, and no one really seems to be eking out ahead of one another. So these guys are just forced to ride behind them. You know, you might be able to pick a lane and say, I want to be the first person to use this lane to get around the car that loses out on this battle. It looks like right now the losing car is going to be Ryan Seneca as Ruben gets past him. I'm not sure if Ryan got a little bit loose or just decided to concede the position there to try and save his tires for later. But now it looks like Tim's going to be able to get to the outside of Joe here. Unless, no, Joe's going to get to the inside of Ryan.
Yes, he is. So there they go, diving it on down. Now we're going to see with Segala if he can make that low line work around Schanowski. Here comes up on the outside there. That is him trying to make it work. Schanowski really trying to push everything that he can. Seneca being pushed out a little bit wide. That car a little bit wobbly coming down the back straightaway.
Yeah, like I mentioned, these cars are loose, and normally, you know, the car's either going to get a lot tighter or a lot looser by the end of the race. As you can see right now, Brian Dean getting around Todd Liston just on the outside. Looks like a pretty easy pass. I think Todd, odds are, heated up his tires a little bit, got loose off turn 4, and just allowed Brian to get back by. And Todd's a smart racer. He kind of knows when he's lost a spot, and he's not going to make the job too much harder for Brian than it needs to be and burn up his own stuff.
Exactly. We continue to watch this battle in the back of the field here. This is the battle for 11th right now. Seneca continuing to run that high line. Segala in the origin black down low. And then Schanowski working on a little bit of a super high line there, trying to take a very, very wide entry into the corner and cutting it down low. He's got some good momentum, but he's going to find himself a little bit pottled up there behind the 19. I don't think he's going to be able to get the momentum by that he really wants to. Is that going to hurt him? They're pretty much in a diamond pattern as they go by the start finish.
Yeah, this is definitely hurting Tim right now because he's doing everything he can to try and get by the two of these cars, but they're just locked in almost a never-ending battle because, you know, both these guys, their speed is relatively equal to one another. I think the only thing that's going to affect them is if Ruben can't get by Jeffrey, and then these cars are kind of Noah's Ark style. We'll have to see who wins out in the battle ahead of them, and then if that affects the battle behind them. If not, because whoever loses the battle in front obviously is going to bottle up Joe or Ryan, and then that'll just dictate which line Tim has to choose. But if you look behind these guys by about 5 seconds or so, you're going to see our leaders, Morton, Shepard, and Thunhorst.
Yes, you are. So that battle's going to come up to them very quickly, and that's not what the leaders want to see. You want to be passing cars one by one by one, not in a big bunch like this. Ooh, great little 5 pattern there as Joe Segala is right in the middle of everything. Meanwhile, up in front of him, that's Altice and Liston continuing to go at it and work their way around, trying to get anything. Segala just in an island unto himself.
Yeah, I think Tim's going to clear Seneca right there. It looks like he does. And now, of course, Tim and Joe are in the same spot they were before, with Ruben trying to battle another car to his outside. So second verse, same as the first. This one we'll see if it's better or worse for the 2 cars behind these two, Altice and I believe that is Harden, Jeffrey Harden, up in the 44 car. A little bit different color scheme this season for him. Usually we're used to seeing him in a bright blue or bright yellow car.
Indeed, so he's changing things up a little bit there, trying to make that work on Altice. Altice drifted up a little bit into Harden. Harden, I think, had to check himself up a little bit, and that in turn caused Segala to get very, very squiggly in the back, trying to make it work. Ooh, there's a little bit of a look there behind from Schanowski as well. Leaders really coming up behind, only about a 1.5 seconds back of this group.
Yeah, what you're seeing right now is Ruben's faster, but he's in the non-preferred line if you're trying to pass someone. If you're by yourself, the fastest line is on the bottom, but the car on top can really pinch the guy on the bottom down. Ruben looks like he is almost able to clear hard. Looks like he had to check himself up on the entrance of the corner. Obviously, these cars are really loose right now, so it's difficult to get the car slowed down and really stuck to the bottom of the track on right by the apron like he wants to do.
Yeah, really trying to make it work. Ooh, big contact into the wall there for Joe Segala. Not exactly working out the way he would have hoped it to do, but they continue to be side by side. That is Morton. That is Morton right there coming in behind Ryan Seneca, about to put that car a lap down, so the leaders have caught up.
Yeah, Morton's that number 9 red, white, and black car just on the inside of Seneca. The next car behind Segala is the leader, and of course you can see our top 3 here, podium positions as they run, really hunting these guys down. Morton wants to get by these cars as fast as possible. This league is usually pretty good about letting the leaders by and letting them run their own race. Of course, they're running their own race too, so you don't want to, really kill your momentum or your run, but obviously you don't want to be a jerk to the leaders.
Yeah, exactly. It's a little bit of that balancing game that you've got to play out here as they go around. That's Segala getting pushed up high right now. I think Shepard had to check up a little bit on him, and that may have hurt his time a little bit, but he's still able to stay close behind Morton. Morton trying to get his nose down there to the inside of Schanowski. Not exactly doing there. Schanowski now goes up to the high line to try to clear him, but right ahead of him, Altice and Harden still side by side. They're not giving any space.
Yeah, Schanowski knows these are the leaders coming up behind him. He doesn't want to ruin the overall race, so he's just going to pull over and choose to pass these guys a little bit later. We're still only 2/3 of the way through this race. There's a lot of racing left for Schanowski. I'm sure he's been saving his tires all race. He knows what he has underneath that car of his, so I'm sure he's pretty confident himself. Yeah, that ooh is correct there.
Indeed, getting very, very squirrely there. Morton trying to pick his lane to get by. Neither one of them getting out. Whoa, that's very high into the outside there for Tim Schanowski. He's lucky he didn't run into the wall. Now Morton thinks about trying to split the difference in between these two cars, but he's not going to do it. He has got to be getting very frustrated behind that number 9. There, he finally gets the pass by. Altice lets him by to the inside, giving up the ghost on Harden in front of him. Morton is going to be able to slot in there, and hopefully he can get by up ahead of him, Jeffrey Harden, and get this battle done.
Yeah, I don't think that was letting him by, DJ. I think Ruben just got really loose there off corner exit, had no choice but to forfeit the bottom there to Justin. Surprised they fought for as long as they did. You can see Matt Thunderhorse just trying to come through this field as fast as he can. And that battle between the lap cars really scrunched up the battle for the lead. Surprised Kenny Kibbe isn't as close as he is, but he's probably just saving his tires right now. If there is a caution, second and fourth place are really in the catbird seat with just how good the highline is around here. So I'm sure Kenny's licking his chops if there's a caution.
I'm sure he is as well. These cautions can be a little bit crazy, but we are already on lap 71 of this race. Only about 30 laps to go. That battle in the back, though, continues to be very, very fierce there, as that is the 11 of Ruben Altice on the outside of Schanowski, trying to make it work. They have gone back to right in the way that they were. Starting to line out here just a little bit more.
Yeah, I really feel like Tim Schanowski has the pace of the leaders for sure. Top 5 car. Tim's usually really fast. He's probably been saving his tires all race long. He's just been bunched up behind all these slower cars in front of him because you can't make passes as fast as you like when you look in front of Tim and you're just too wide. I think that's been Tim's story of the race for sure for the last 40 or 50 laps or so. Just really hard to make passes here when they're too wide in front of you.
Yeah, it really and truly is. There you can see Harden trying to hold on to that outside line a little bit. Ooh, that was a little bit squirrely there from Schanowski, almost getting up into the wall. I'm also seeing there ahead, that was another one of the lap cars getting up and out of the way. This is the battle in the back there. That is Kenny Kibbe, Adam Shane right up behind him. And their little battle is allowed for James Lowe and Brian Dean to hold in behind. This is very, very tight. This is all for 4th place.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what's going to happen if Shane catches Kibbe here. I know last weekend for sure Shane actually put the bumper to me, moved me up a little bit up the track because he thought he was faster for a couple laps. So I'll be interested to see if he does the same thing to Kibbe here. Looks like Lowe's going to get to his inside. I feel like Lowe's going to be able to make the pass. I feel like you got to be a couple tenths faster than the person to your outside if you want to pass them on the inside. I feel like James is, so we'll be able to see that here. And I want to see what Dean has in his car too.
Yeah, I do too. We haven't seen a whole lot of it. Whoa, that got a little bit squirrely there in the back. Some drivers moving up and down the track very, very much. But here comes the 99 of James Lowe.
Well,
big wiggle. That's contact into Shane.
Wow, yeah, that was a hard look for Shane. No caution, though. He's going to be able to keep it going. That's just what's going to happen when the car on the inside gets a little bit loose and has to kind of check up, bobble up the track. Obviously, no bad intent from James Lowe. It's just instinctual. When the car gets loose, you just want to take it up the track and steer it right there. Looks like Adam Shane's going to take his car down pit road to get his fast repair.
Indeed.
Oh, big loose moment there for Tim Schanowski, just trying to put the power down on corner exit. This is the first time Tim's been in clean air to my knowledge, so we can really see what his pace is like. I'd be interested to see just how far up the field he can get.
Yeah, I will be too. It'll be something to keep an eye on, and thankfully we did not go yellow for that incident with Shane. He was able to pull it down pit lane before iRacing tricked anything out on that. So continue to go around here. We watch Schanowski. We're going to go and check out that replay here.
Yeah, you can see Shane's trying to pinch James Lowe down. James just gets loose on corner exit, goes into one of those lazy spins, and unlike we saw Ruben do earlier, he chooses to correct the car and almost does. It's just unfortunate Shane was there. It's instinctual at that point, though. You're just trying to chase the car back up the hill.
Yeah, just trying to chase the car up the hill and save it the best that he can. And Adam Shane, the unfortunate victim of all of that. Looking at the back here of Harden, though, that's Schanowski. A little bit of damage to that right front quarter panel as he tries to get on by.
Yeah, this is a battle for 8th place here, so this means a lot. This is whether you're going to start 1st or 9th next weekend at Myrtle Beach. So Tim obviously knows what he's racing for. Jeffrey does too. These guys, I expect them to give it all they have in the last 16 laps here.
Yeah, I do too. This is where the moment's really going to come out. And also, Austin, this is going to be the moment where we find out who's been saving the tires the best as we really get into the danger zone about that.
Yeah, I feel like the people saving their tires the best is going to be Dean and Schanowski right now, but we're going to be able to see that as to how it unfolds in the next couple of laps here. The battle for the front's kind of spaced out. Justin Morton has pulled about a second lead on J.R. Shepard, and Matt Thunhorse is now behind the two of them by the tune of about 2.3 seconds, and Kenny Kibbe is about 7.5 seconds back. So that's currently your battle for the top 3 podium spots.
Yeah, so that battle spreading out a little bit as it were, but still some good action there in the mid-pack as we continue to watch. 14 laps to go here at Southern National Motorsports Park. They drive their cars in there. There is Joe Segala that we see. He is sandwiched right now in between. That looks like Ryan Dean, who's a lap ahead of him. So that is not a battle for position directly ahead.
Yeah, right now everyone's just running their own races. We see Tim Schanowski is now locked in another battle with Jeffrey Harden. I feel like Tim's going to be able to make the move here. He's just going to have to be really careful about how he enters and exits the corner given how loose these cars are. I feel like most of these drivers know how to drive the loose race cars, so you're going to see him kick the rear end out there just to try and put as much power down. It looks like he was able to clear Jeffrey Harden there in corner exit. So now he is in the 8th position. He's going to catch the invert.
Going to catch the invert indeed. So that'll be good for Schanowski.
No, he's not clear. Right now, Jeffrey Harden. Yep, barely not clear right there down the front stretch. Jeffrey's going to be able to use the momentum on the high side to draw even with Tim Schanowski as they go down the straightaway. Right now, we're going to ride on board with Ruben Altis. He's got the popcorn right now as he watches this battle for the invert.
Indeed he does, and this is a really crucial battle. It's not as big when you're battling 7th and 8th, but if you are 9th and 8th, that is mega. That is the difference between starting 9th in the field next week and starting 1st in the field next week. So both of these drivers want to hold on to that 8th place position as the race continues to go along. Oh, Harden getting a little bit aggressive there, almost thinking about splitting the difference in between the two of them. He's going to run up on the high side, try to put Altis down into 11th potential, or put Schanowski down into 10th potentially, as that is Schanowski really starting to fall off the back there of Jeffrey Harden.
Yeah, I feel like even though Tim's front tires are working exceptionally well at this point in the race, his rear tires are pretty used at this point. Of course, Jeffrey Harden pinching him down is going to force him to turn the wheel a lot more than he wants to on corner exit, so he's going to just ruin those rear tires more and more. He's going to get them hotter. That means they wear faster, and when they wear faster, they get even hotter, so that's just the vicious cycle that you get. I just heard a car get in the wall. No caution, though. I think it was just a light brush. I think that was Todd Listen just barely making contact with it. That's just something that's not going to slow you down. You just kind of hear it. No big deal.
Indeed it is. So they're all getting around, going around there. Watch there, Brian Dean, as he works his way forward. He's kind of in no man's land there as he runs in 5th. Kenny Kibbe is a fair ways 2 seconds or so up the road from him in 4th place.
Yeah, right now your battle for the lead is the same way it was about 10 or 20 laps ago when I mentioned it. J.R. Shepard about 1 second behind Justin, and Matt Thunhorst about 2.5 seconds behind him. Kenny Kibbe's lost another half a second. Brian Dean has lost about another 1.5 seconds to the leader. As you can see right now, James Lowe trying to hunt him down. James was in front of him until he made contact after he got a bit loose with Adam Shane, and that let Brian Dean get the top 5 spots. So currently James Lowe trying to hunt Brian Dean back down for that.
He is indeed, and the leaders have just crossed over the line here for 3 to go. That is right. Only one caution getting thrown out here tonight, and that's just how fast the laps can tick down when you are short track racing in the Bootleg Racing League. There goes your leader coming across the line for 2 laps to go. Justin Morton, a very, very commanding drive out here today. He's got a gap of about a second back to J.R. Shepard. Up in front of him, that's Kurt Smith diving on into the pits. He's going to take the white flag as Barney the flagman waves that white piece of cloth for him. Only one more set of corners to go as he exits his way out of turn 2 right now. Brings that number 9 machine up to the wall and back down into the apex of 3 and 4. He's going to put the power on and come out of it and take the victory. Justin Morton is going to take the win here at Southern National in that number 9 machine. J.R. Shepard will hold on behind him in P2 with Matthew Thunhorst in 3rd to round out your podium. Kibby and Dean, the rest of your top 5.
Yeah, you can see a little bit of a love tap there from J.R. Shepard. J.R. is one of the guys that really teaches a lot of the people in here lessons. If they ever ask J.R. a question, he always answer it honestly about what he's doing to make himself go faster. So what a great win for Justin Morton. To tell you what, DJ, no offense to you, but I'm really bummed I wasn't able to participate in this race. It looked like a lot of fun tonight. Only one caution. Justin Morton doing a burnout down the front stretch. But we'll be right back.
This is iRacing, the world's premier online racing game. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat to experience today's newest form of competitive motorsport, virtual racing, all from your home PC. Race virtually in endorsed series from NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, the World of Outlaws, Aussie Supercars and more. Take on legendary circuits like Daytona, Silverstone and the Nürburgring. Join iRacing's global online racing community and get on track today at iRacing.com.
Welcome back to the Virtual Grip Network and the Virtual Southern National Motorsports Park. We have just witnessed Justin Morton in the number 9 Total Downforce Racing Machine take the victory here in tonight's race. J.R. Shepard and Matthew Thunhorst finishing behind him and rounding out the podium. 4th place was Kenny Kibby, followed by Brian Dean with James Lowe in 6th and Todd List in 7th. Jeffrey Hardin finished 8th and will be starting off in the pole for the next race with Tim Schanowski and Ruben Altis rounding out your top 10.
11th place is going to go to Ryan Seneker, followed by Joe Segala and Kurt Smith in 12th and 13th, respectively. 14th place went to Adam Schoen, followed by Lowell Jewell and Donnie Moore. Is going to round out your 16-car field. That guy in the bottom there, don't worry about him. He's just getting points.
Just there to pick up a few points. But the driver who was able to pick up the most points here today, well, that was our winner, Justin Morton, and we are lucky enough to have him in booth. Justin, congratulations. Had to fight your way up there a little bit, but it looked like once you got into the lead, you were not letting it go.
Yeah, once I got up there, I sort of just settled into a groove. Felt pretty good. I was a little worried I was killing my stuff a little bit, but it seemed I was getting that right balance.
Well, in terms of that and in terms of being in the lead, how much are you thinking about that over the course of the race, specifically when you're in those opening stages trying to get to the lead? Are you thinking, okay, I got to worry about my tires, got to do this, yada, 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 or are you really just focused in on trying to get to the front?
On those first, restart or first race start, normally I'm pretty, I want to get to the lead as fast as I can most of the time. If it's possible. That situation, I was in a really good spot to get there. I knew the outside would be really strong on the starts and restarts, so I want to take advantage of that. It just, yeah, it was just the right situation there. Normally, just try to lay back a little bit, just try to be calm and not make any dumb moves to kill the tires, but just situational awareness, really.
Well, looking ahead, this is going to draw you a little bit closer up in the championship. I think you're going to be very, very close here with Kibby and Thunhorst and Shepard. We head to Myrtle Beach next. Those big old snapping turtles down on the inside. How do you think that's going to go for you?
Oh, I love Myrtle Beach. It's probably my favorite short track on the service right now. It's a shame they tore the track down in real life. I love running there. I got my first win in a long time there. I think that was last season or 2 seasons ago. Um, yeah, I love running there. It's probably my favorite place to run.
We'll be watching out for that number 9 then when we head there next week. Justin, anybody you want to thank for this fantastic victory here tonight?
Yeah, I'd like to thank my team, Total Downforce Racing, Pixel Dust for the amazing paint, Gargamel's Kitchen for sponsoring the series, Lowell for running this amazing league. I love running here. And thank you guys for doing the broadcast.
Well, with races like that, Justin, it is our absolute pleasure to do so. That was Justin Morton, your winner here tonight at Southern National Motorsports Park, rather. And now, Austin, I believe you have caught up with our second place finisher here, J.R. Shepard.
Hey, JR, great job tonight. Fantastic to interview my different Motorsports teammate. Tell me about your race, man.
Yeah, it was a little bit uneventful, to be honest. So I knew at the start that I had a good guy in front of me with Justin, so my plan was just to follow him through and hopefully get to the front. And for the most part, it worked out. So I mean, Justin has been extremely fast here for several seasons, and a lot of times just didn't have the track position. So tonight he showed what he can do when he has that. So yeah, my hat's off to him. He ran a great race tonight.
Yeah, I saw you give him a little bit of a bumper on the cool down lap. Fantastic to see the camaraderie between you guys. What are you doing to save your tires at the end of the race? Are you trying to conserve your tires because you don't think there will be a caution when you're that late, or do you just kind of give everything you've got to make sure you can try to pass them?
Well, early on, was trying to attack until we got into second place, and was trying to ride behind Justin a little bit and see what he was doing, try to learn something. You know, because if you follow the same line as the guy in front of you, that's all you're ever going to do. So trying to figure out a little bit to do something different than what he was. And I thought he was using his stuff up a little bit, like he said. But once we caught the lap traffic was brutal. They weren't doing anything wrong. It's just hard to pass when you're that late in the race and your tires are hot. And I think I ended up using up my rear tires a little bit too much. So had to let them cool down, and that opened up the gap. And after that, I think me and Justin kind of ran comparable lap times. But even if I was right on his bumper, I wasn't going to have anything for him.
Yeah, for certain, those lap cars definitely being side by side certainly hampered the battle you guys could have had there at the end. But again, they didn't do anything wrong. Is there anyone you want to thank for your P2 run tonight?
Yeah, just thanks again to the Bootleg Racing League, giving us a great place to race each and every weekend. To Gargamel's Kitchen for being the title sponsor. Really appreciate them being on for multiple seasons and everything they do. And of course, to the team Different Path Motorsports, and everything you guys are doing on Virtual Grip Network. I really appreciate it. You guys are really, really good.
Thank you very much. Congratulations, JR, and your P2, and thank you so much for your time. I think Justin is caught up with Matthew Thunhorst.
Well, I'm not entirely sure who Justin is, but I have indeed caught up with Matthew Thunhorst. Matthew, a third place here today. It looked like you were kind of running out in a little bit of an island there after an early battle with Kenny Kibbe.
Yeah, I figured I could get a good run going to the year tonight, and it was kind of frustrating at the start there because it seemed like whichever line I tried to hop in or I was in on a restart was the one going backwards. And, I felt like I had the speed to get up there with JR and Justin, and after I got around Kenny, I started pushing real hard and I tore my stuff up. And then after we got through those lap cars, it was just I didn't have much left. So I didn't have a good hand tonight, and I didn't play it extremely well, but I'll take a third regardless.
So when that happens and you do tear up your tires a little bit more, how do you counter that as a driver? Are you going a little bit softer? How much do you have to change in terms of your racing lines and your racing style?
Well, I mean, it just depends kind of what the issue is. As I was charging the corners real hard, and then I was trying to mash it off with the throttle, and so it's just dealing with tight end, loose off, so it's like, okay, maybe I'll try to put a little bit of brake bias back so I can keep the speed up. Oh, well, that's going to burn the right rear up a little bit more. Okay, can't get away with that. And it's just experimenting with little things, maybe trying a different line, starting high, exit low, so you can come off straighter. And for me, it's just I kind of burned up both right sides. So at that point, it was just take it easy and make it to the end there. I knew I had a good gap, and I saw that there was that big old lap kind of pack behind me. And so I knew unless I wrecked it, I was going to get third or we had a caution. So I was just trying to take it easy. And in the case that we did have a caution, I'd have something to fend with at least.
Gotcha. Well, next week we head to Myrtle Beach. Do you think that's going to fare you a little bit better, both in terms of tire wear and just in terms of maybe hopping a step or two up more on the podium?
Well, I mean, it depends. It's the thing that's always kind of makes these races interesting is the invert. And, it's, not always possibly starting worse than someone is always a bane. Sometimes it's to get you on the right line or get you in the incorrect line on that invert. And so, we'll just have to see how Myrtle goes. I mean, I always enjoy that track. I think, we had some good side-by-side racing. I think we'll see a good bit more of that Myrtle because it's definitely one of those where the bottom's preferred, but when you're side-by-side, the top side can fight back. So it's going to be another racy track, and we'll just have to see how it plays out. Tonight started a little bit rough, and then we went green for days. So it was definitely interesting at that point, and, it definitely was a race that kind of pushed everybody, with especially with me up front trying to catch up and run down those guys. It's just you want it so bad, but and it's almost kind of like the dog chasing the mail truck, except the mail truck's just a little too fast, and then all you're done is you're just the dog left on the side of the road, just panting, going, "Oh, why'd I do this?"
I gotta love that analogy, man. I may have to steal that from you. Well, regardless of third place is nothing to shake a stick at, man. Anybody you'd like to thank for the run tonight?
Yeah, as always, I just want to give a shout out to Lowell and BRL. Always enjoy doing this. Gargamel's for sponsoring us, and I have to say, I know he's in the booth. I'm gonna look back and enjoy watching how he did. But Austin, I missed you, buddy. But I'm pretty sure if from the previous broadcast he's done, that he's probably killed it again here. So, as always, thanks DJ and Austin for broadcasting, and everybody else at Virtual Grip for bringing it to the fans. So appreciate that.
I missed you too, Matt, by the way.
A nice little love there between commentator and driver. I absolutely love it. That was your third place finisher here tonight, Matthew Thunhorst. And well, folks, that's about going to wrap things up for us here on the Virtual Grip Network. But before we go, we would like to once again thank our sponsor for tonight's event, that being Gargamel's Kitchen. Visit them at 2045 South Valencia Street in Denver, Colorado, or go ahead and give them a call at 720-707-6178. On behalf of Austin Belke and the rest of us here at VGN, we'd like to thank you from the bottom of our hearts for joining us here tonight at the virtual Southern National Motorsports Park. I'll get that name right eventually. The next race for this series for the Grand National, well, you heard it. It's going to be Myrtle Beach next Saturday, November 13th at 8:55 p.m. Eastern Time. The next race for the channel itself will be coming in next Tuesday, and that is going to be the guys using NASCAR rules for sim racing Champion Cup Series. That's right, we've got some NASCAR boys out on track, and that'll be Tuesday, November 9th at 7:50 p.m. Eastern Time. We will be back, like I said, for that next race at Myrtle Beach. This has been a production of Skidder Creek Motorsports Group and the Virtual Grip Network. My name is DJ Clark. Until we see you on the track, thanks for watching.